that, Richard, to you, because when I talk to never Trumpers, they would say the argument I
Magandang
would hear.
umaga
Take it
po.
away, man.
Oh,
The argument I would
sorry.
hear from never
Sorry
Trumpers.
to interrupt this regular program. We will get back to this as we are going to deliver to you some important
That,
information
Richard, to
about
you, because when I talk to never Trumpers, they would say the argument
magandang
I would hear.
umaga po. Oh,
The argument I would
sorry.
hear from
Sorry to interrupt this regular program. Sorry about that, guys. We are going back to the regular program. We are first going to share some weather news as it happens. As as you know, mga kababayan, magandang umaga po. This is your Manggagawang Filipino morning show. We do this in the service of ating mga manggagawang Pilipino here in Canada. And palamig na ng palamig ang panahon, and we would like to ask you to be more cautious, more careful out there as the weather is getting cold. Kailangan po tayo mag-bundle up, mag-ingat, at wag kalimutan na yung ating habits ng summertime habits. I-put on na natin ang ating mga wintertime habits dahil palamig na ng palamig ang panahon. Baka minsan, similar to driving, minsan po dahil we have a habit when we drive on snow that is we have to maintain a certain safety habit when we're driving on snow. But then, if we haven't driven on snow for a while, all of a sudden we forget how slow we should be. Anyways, wala pa naman pong snow sa Toronto. Ang ating weather in Toronto, 5 degrees centigrade. And nako, mukhang hindi niyo po nakikita ito ng mabuti, no? And so what I'm gonna do, you can still hear me. I'm gonna full screen. I'm pretty sure you can still hear me right now. We're gonna full screen our view so you can see it a lot better. So we kind of share screen po sa weather.com, the weathernetwork.com. Um, no infringement, copyright infringement intended, but this is a website, and I don't believe that weather websites are copyrighted because these are public domain information. These are 5 degrees centigrade. You cannot copyright 5 degrees centigrade in Toronto as your intellectual property. I believe that's not possible. Anyways, I really want to give you a better view. So ayan po, it's really not easy for you to see if I go 5 degrees centigrade feels like -1 sa Toronto. Meron po tayong wind gust na 43 kilometer westward. Humidity 61%. Visibility 24 24 na kilometro. Ang sunrise ngayong umaga ay tumaas noong alas 7:14 ng umaga. Magsa-sunset mamayang gabi at 4:50, alas 4. Bago mag alas 5, 10 minuto bago mag alas 5, magsa-sunset na po. Maaga ang sunset because we are in our winter solstice na ng ating season here in Canada. try to make this a lot bigger for you. There you go. I think you can see this a lot better. Ito naman po tayo sa Winnipeg. Nako, Winterpeg, mga kababayan natin sa Winnipeg. Right now, ang oras ninyo ay 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:08 a.m. Minus 15 degrees centigrade ang lamig sa Winterpeg. Mga kababayan nating taga Winnipeg, mag-ingat po, mag-bundle up. Napaka-importante na lalo na yung mga maliliit na bata kung you chose to keep your kids sa uh, physical schooling. Marami po kami dito sa Ontario na namili ng virtual school sa mga kabataan. But if your kid's still going to school and you're walking to school, or they're being picked up by uh, your school buses, minus 15 degrees na po sa Winterpeg. Mga kababayan natin sa Winnipeg, tayo po mag-bundle up dyan. Napakalamig sa Winnipeg. At sa alas 7 ng umaga, alas 7, uh, kapito ng umaga at siyam na minutos sa Winnipeg right now. Minus 15 degrees, napakalamig po. You know, kahit nasabihin yung minus 15 degrees, minus 22 ang feeling ng Winnipeg right now. Meron kayong 11 na kilometro per ora, 11 kilometro per ora na wind gust. Napakabilis po niyan. Kaya yung minus 15 feeling minus 22 na yan. Humidity nyo ay 78%. Visibility ay 24 na kilometro. Ang sunrise sa Winnipeg ay 7:43 ng umaga, magsa-sunset mamayang gabi at 4:42 p.m. Sa Edmonton naman po, minus 8 degrees ang ating mga kababayan sa Edmonton, Alberta, 8 degrees. Feels like minus 8. So, wala masyadong wind gust. 2 kilometro ah, per ora lamang ang inyong wind gust, direksyon papuntang Timog, Kanluran. Timog, Kanluran. Ang humidity ay 92%. Visibility, pagka kayo magmamaneho, 17 kilometers, 17 kilometro. Ang sunrise nyo ay ikawalo ng umaga, 3 minutos. Right now, ang oras sa Edmonton ay alas 6 ng umaga at 10 minutos. Air quality, UV1 low. Ang inyong sunset mamayang gabi ay alas 4 ng hapon at 34 na minutos. Sa Calgary, Alberta naman po, hindi masyado malamig, minus 1 degrees. Meron kayong wind gust na 9 kilometro per ora papuntang kanluran. Ang humidity nyo ay 47%. Ang visibility, kung kayo nagmamaneho, ay 24 na kilometro. Mamaya, ang sunrise ay ikapito ng umaga at 55 minutos, 7:55 a.m. Ang oras ngayon sa Calgary ay 6:11 or alas 6 at 11 minutos. Ang inyong sunset mamayang gabi ay 4:45 p.m. Punta naman po tayo sa Vancouver, British Columbia. Ang pangatlong probinsya na may pinakamaraming Pilipino, 7 degrees centigrade. So far, sa buong Canada, pinakamainit sa Vancouver, cloudy, 17, it will be, although 7 degrees, feeling like 4 degrees yan. Medyo malamig-lamig lang kaunti. Wind gust ninyo ay 17 kilometro per ora papuntang Hilagang Silangan. Ang humidity ay 73%. Ang visibility nyo ay 24 na kilometro. Ang sunrise ay mamyapang alas 7:25 ng umaga. Ang oras ngayon sa Vancouver ay alas 5 ng umaga at 12 minutos. Mamaya ang inyong sunset sa Vancouver ay alas 4:28 ng hapon. Punta naman po tayo sa Saskatoon, isa sa mga maraming kababayan Pilipino sa Saskatchewan ay sa Saskatoon. Medyo malamig po dyan, -8 degrees centigrade. And it feels like -10. Hindi naman po kabilisan ang wind gust ng inyong hangin papuntang Hilaga, 4 na kilometro per ora. Ang humidity sa Saskatoon ay 100%. Ang visibility ay 24 na kilometro. Ang sunrise ninyo ay alas 8:30 ng umaga. Sa Saskatoon right now ay 6:30 ng umaga. Mamaya ang sunset nyo ay medyo gabi-gabi pa sa alas 5:12 or ikalimang oras ng hapon at 12 minutos. At yan po ang ating weather all across Canada for now. And let's get back to our regular programming. Ang ating pinapanood po sa ating regular programming ay ang aking one-on-one na interview, question and answer sa isang political insider dito sa Ontario na kilala ng mga federal na politiko at mga insiders din ng iba't iba pang partido, both ng liberal at ng partidong konserbatibo dito sa Ontario at sa federal na larangan ng politika. Ang ating nakakapanayam si Richard Rupp. Babalik siya sometime the end of this week or next week. At magbalik po tayo sa ating palatuntunan. At ito na po ang ating kasamang si Richard Rupp.
All these ballots are coming in for Biden. Wouldn't you think that these Democratic voters would have also voted for a Democrat for Senate if they, there's 1/3 of Senate in each election? They would vote for Democrat for Senate. They'd vote for Democrat for the House races. It doesn't make sense that the down ballot didn't match up with Biden's strong numbers.
About that, Richard, to you, because when I talk to never Trumpers, they would say, well, the argument I would hear, you can hear me well, right? The argument I would hear from never Trumpers are, it doesn't make sense that there is fraud in this election because a lot of Republican senators won. So if you're gonna question now the validity of those ballots that won the senators, then you're questioning. If you're questioning Biden, then you're also questioning those senators. That is the argument. So could it be possible if there's a rig that they rig it that way? That so the president will be Biden, but the downline will be Republicans.
So it's not the smartest rig I've ever seen. If it is a rig, okay. And again, I give a proviso. If it is a rig, it's not the smartest I've ever seen. But it doesn't make sense to you. Like, let's look logically. It doesn't make sense to you that you would vote for Biden alone because you hate Trump and vote for Republican senators and Republican House of Representatives, especially if you are upset with Trump for the Republican Senate confirming Amy Coney Barrett as the Supreme Court Justice. You'd make sure that a Democrat senator would be elected, not a Republican. So it doesn't make sense to me that you would vote for a Democrat president and Republican down ticket. That to me doesn't make sense if you really wanted to get rid of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. It also doesn't make sense that you would only vote if you want to get rid of Donald Trump and the Republican Party, and you're so upset about the Republican Party. Why would you vote only for Biden and leave everything else blank? That doesn't make sense to me. So if you're like, logic would say, if you're really upset, if you've really been mobilized to vote against Trump, you're not only upset with Trump, you're upset with the entire Republican Party. You're upset with the Senate that just confirmed the last Supreme Court justice. You're upset. You want to get rid of those Republican senators. You want to replace it with Democrats. You want to make sure that the House, how come the House did not go overwhelmingly for Democrats? To me, this does not make logical sense. And statisticians and mathematicians are looking at it and saying it doesn't make sense either.
Well, the assumption too is that voters are educated voters. But if the voters are just like, out of anger, "Oh, I don't want Trump, just Biden," and then submit the ballot, do you think that kind of anger is maybe apparent from the voters? Would that be possible?
So it's absolutely possible that you're not thinking about the big picture and you're saying, I just want to get rid of Trump. I'm only going to vote for Biden. But it's also possible that which we know there's been a lot of ballot harvesting, where Democrat operatives are knocking on doors, particularly elderly people, going to old age homes and asking people, okay, let me help you with your ballot. You'll fill in for Biden. Now, maybe they don't want to waste the time and have them fill in for a straight Democratic downline ticket. They just want the vote for Biden. That could be possible too. There's a lot of possibilities with this election. There are states that you don't have to sign the ballot, or you don't have to have a matching signature for the ballot. I mean, that to me is absolutely ridiculous. There are states where you can ask for a mail in ballot, and all you need is the person's date of birth and name, and you can print out a mail in ballot. So, if in Facebook, you have your friend, they have their birthday, that's both birthdays listed there. You know their date of birth, you know their name. At least there should be a safeguard of asking for the person's social security number. But there's a number of battleground states which didn't even ask for the person's social security number. All you needed was date of birth and name, and you could print out a ballot. And that to me was a concern. And then what about the cases where the person printed a ballot and then potentially went in and voted on election day in person? What is the safeguards there? Where Biden is saying, I have the largest number of votes of any presidential candidate. I don't think Biden got more enthusiasm for him than, for example, Obama in 2008. And yet Biden got more votes than Obama in 2008. And that doesn't make sense, because a lot of Republicans and a lot of centrists voted for Obama in 2008. And it was a groundswell. It was a huge number of votes. I think the turnout was very large. How can Biden beat Obama's numbers? To me, statistically, none of this makes sense.
Mm. Well, Richard, you told me that you need to be in another interview in like 15 minutes, but I want to squeeze in. You have one more
I have 5 more minutes for you. And Joe, it's been so exciting to be on your show. This is my first time on your show. Thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here and an honor to be with all your viewers. And I hope that you'll invite me again, because this has been a breeze. This has been such a pleasure. I'm really enjoying this.
Well, I hope you will come again, because you're such a very, very giving a lot of valuable information. My last question for you, Richard: if we have a liberal American government and we have Justin Trudeau, who would stick around most likely because COVID probably won't allow us to have any elections and people don't have any appetite, a liberal America and a liberal Canada under COVID, is that a good recipe for a new world?
I think it's a total disaster, and I'm going to explain to your viewers why. First of all, why is it a disaster? Trudeau has killed Canada's oil and natural gas industry. He pretended to be, well, it's good for the economy, but it's bad for the environment, so I'm going to balance between the environment and the economy. And it's basically when you're jack of all trades, master of none. And the reality is he's focusing solely on the environment and the Paris Climate Accords. And he's not getting voters from Alberta. So if he kills the economy in Alberta, he doesn't really care. But that's really a case of cutting your nose to spite your face, because so much of our economy is reliant on, or was reliant, I mean, our economy is terrible right now, was reliant on the oil and natural gas industry. Now, if Biden comes in, Biden is against the oil and natural gas industry. Biden is against fracking. Biden is against all these kinds of things, Keystone XL. So Alberta will be dead. Unfortunately, if Biden is inaugurated, Alberta will be dead. I also don't predict that Biden, the people that are behind the Democrats, I don't think that they really wanted Biden. I think that within a very short period of time, if God forbid Biden is inaugurated, I think you're going to see President Kamala Harris. And statistically, we know that Kamala Harris has been the most left-wing, radical left of any senators in the United States. And even if she is the vice president, she will be doing a lot of the guiding and manipulating behind the scenes while Biden is the president. And they will have a Green New Deal if Biden is the president, which will be a total disaster for the United States. They will have more socialism than the United States has ever known before. And that's the antithesis of what America is all about. America is about the free market economy. America is about freedom of speech. America is about liberty. Give me liberty or give me death. And yet, this year alone, we have witnessed the death of liberty, the death of freedom of speech, censorship like we've never seen before. And if you think that that's going to just disappear and go away, it's not under a Biden presidency. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. You will be censored. You will be blocked. You will be told that you have to say a certain things. And if you're not saying those certain things and singing from the same hymn book, they're going to kick you out. They're going to ban you and block you. So economically, I think it's going to be a disaster. I think if they want everyone to just sit home and get stimulus checks in the United States, it's going to be an economic disaster. It's not going to be. I mean, look at the economy under Obama when Biden was the vice president. It wasn't good. It was not good at all. And Trump turned it around in a very short period of time. Why? Because Trump's not part of the deep state. Trump's not part of the swamp. Biden and Obama, Biden who's been in politics for 47 years. I mean, I wasn't even born when Biden was first elected. I apologize. No, I was. I was a baby.
3 years old.
It's a deep swamp. So it will not be good for Canada. And you know, Trudeau can brag prior to COVID that he had the best unemployment rate for a number of decades, but that's because our economy is piggybacked to the United States, and that's because of the Trump economic miracle, not because of anything that we did here.
Yes,
it's in spite of what Trudeau has done here, causing regulations, causing rioting, causing blockades and problems, that we were able to at least cobble out some semblance of success in Canada. But that's because we piggyback on the American economy and all that Trump has built.
because of that American surge. I will close with this. You know, I have a relative on my white side who were a never Trumper ever since Trump got elected. Last summer, every summer we get invited to his cottage. All of a sudden, he's a big Trump fan because he's a snowbird. Driving from California to Canada, he said he saw new roads, new bridge, built here, built there, built everywhere. America looks great. And from then on, for 3 years, he's a never Trumper. Last summer, I met him. He said, "You know what? This guy is for real." But ladies and gentlemen, Richard Robb was our guest today, and I'm extending an invitation to you right away. Maybe next week if you have time, because you know you got so much valuable information, and I have 10 more questions I was not able to ask you because there's so much about this, and maybe touch on some Canadian politics as well. Last words, Richard, before you say goodbye.
Joe, my last word is if you and your viewers would want me back, it'd be my honor and my pleasure to be back. I've had such a pleasure doing your show, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck and continued success.
Well, God bless you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here on the Ordinary Joe Show. I'm your host, Joey Salvador. And this has been After Dinner 21. God bless you. God bless you, sir. Take care, buddy. See you later. Bye-bye.
Hello, good morning. Sorry for making you wait here a little bit. Morning setup as usual. So, kumusta po kayo? Framing.
And it's November 12th, 2020, Thursday morning, and it's a little bit breezy out there, but it's still warm in Toronto. Unusual for a late November week like so what we have. But how many of you are getting into the Christmas spirit? My bass is really high. Let's adjust that a little bit. There we go. But we don't want too much treble either. So we are still sort of setting up this morning shows. What we're trying to accomplish right now is the algorithm, finding the perfect spot and the perfect time where we are going to. Oh, what happened to our light? Something wrong with our light because
Hello, hello, good morning. This is the live show right here on your left, and a rerun is on your right. The smaller frame on your right. That will be our rerun.
there was light.
Um
Let there be light and there was
I'm
light.
just gonna play you some rerun right now because we have
The
some
day after the New Year's Day,
technical issues with our
uh,
production this
this
morning.
hour,
But
this
we already seen
ewan ko kung sino yun.
just before now we seen
Yeah, nakita ko
a
yung mga bayan
one-on-one
kanina pang umaga.
interview with a political insider, Richard Rupp. We played that for you. We don't have lights here, and I hope you enjoyed that. I will be monitoring this morning's. Oh my gosh, my light's too bright. Um, I'm gonna be monitoring this morning's live cast on the controls. I just have some a very very important thing to manage, but I'm gonna play you a rerun of our November 12th show in the morning. Um, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have missed it, so and there's some valuable information from that episode. So I'm gonna play that for you on the B-roll screen capture, and but I'll be here if you have any questions, if you have any comments about that show, and if you missed it and you're just catching it now, I'll be right here in front of the computer to respond to any question, any comments, live comments, and I can bring you on if there's any question about that. But I'm right here. I'm right behind the controls. Although you're watching me from November 12th, today is November 16, Monday. We're halfway through November, and we're less than 30 days away from Christmas. So magandang umaga po. Today is Monday, November 16. I gave you the weather report a little earlier, and we'll do that again a little later. So let's go back to a rerun of our November 12th episode, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you po for sticking around. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.
On the comment section below if there's any problem with my audio, if you cannot hear me well. Because for me, I can hear how you hear it out there is something different. I have a question for you. Every time you hear Christmas music, uh, everyone that I know and I myself, whenever I listen to Christmas music, I know that I get reminded of my childhood because Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year, and Christmas is much enjoyed during your childhood, and so it reminds me of my childhood, right? But every time you hear Christmas music being played in shopping malls, medyo hindi masyadong common yan nowadays, right? Going to shopping malls is very restricted, very limited. Going to restaurants and stores and shops, very limited. And we don't have music really playing in public transportation here in Canada. Well, at least here in Toronto. I don't know in other provinces. I haven't really taken. I've been to Vancouver and I've been to Winnipeg. I've been to Ottawa and Quebec. I haven't really taken the public transportation in those cities because I'm always either being driven or I'm driving or yeah. So I don't know.
But every time you hear Christmas music, hindi tayo nakakarinig masyadong Filipinong pampaskong awitin dito sa Canada. But it takes me back. It's like a time machine for me. Every time I hear Christmas music playing elsewhere, like in my car, I play CHFI. They play all Christmas starting November 1st. That's why I appreciate that station. That's one of the station that plays Christmas really early on. I wish they would do it back in October, but at least they're the earliest among all the pop radio station that I know of in Canada, in Toronto. Um, Parang time machine ang Christmas music when I hear them because it takes me right back to my childhood. I'm reminded of the home that we. Oh, I keep on forgetting. Morning show, Filipino tayo. Yeah, so binabalik ako sa alaala ng aking kabataan. Uh, Lumalaki sa aming unang tahanan sa Pilipinas. Doon ako natira sa Quezon City, sa aming tahanan sa Brixton Hill. Pero naalala ko na maliit ako rin, meron din tahanan ng aking ama doon sa Rizal, Montalban, where my mom would stay because yung bahay namin sa Manila was yun yung bahay ng first wife ng dad ko na pumanaw. Kaya siya nag-asawa ulit, which is my mom. So, pero ang nagkataon din ng aking kaarawan ay December 9, araw, buwan ng Kapaskuhan. At alam natin na sa Pilipinas, di ba, ang Christmas, it doesn't really start in December, it starts in around October. This is my experience with Christmas in the Philippines. I want to make sure that this is properly, the settings are all properly on. All right. So, yun ang kayo. So, ang tanong ko sa inyo, what are the first things? Ano yung mga una nyo naaalala when you hear Christmas music? Ano ang naaalala nyo sa inyong kabataan? Please share it with us. 647-875-373. Okay, let's put that up. I don't memorize my own phone number, but let's put the banners up for my banners. There you go. Show. There you go. Oh, this is the last night show after dinner kuntuhan. Let's change that to morning show. Um, Morning show. Yung assistant ko, hindi inayos to kanina. Yung assistant ko si Joey. Tanghali nang gumising. Alam niyo sabi ng analytics ko, I have to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Can you believe that? The highest peak of all my viewers and followers. I'm not a morning person myself, but the highest peak of my followers presence online is about 4 in the morning, 4 to 5 in the morning. So I am thinking the reason for that is because marami pa tayo ordinary James and Joes who are following us all across Canada. So even though it's 8 o'clock here, it's still 6:20 in Vancouver or in Calgary, and it's still 5:20 in Vancouver. So Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, it's 7:21 in the morning. But yeah, it's 8:21. It's a little bit late here now in Toronto, but my analytics says that to the best and most optimal time for me to touch my followers and viewers is 4 o'clock in the morning. But I'm not a morning person. So what I'm doing is I'm going to broadcast, even though this is not the peak time in Ontario. Probably in Ontario, most of our kababayans already at work and already well into their shift. But that's fine. We'll. I thought I set that up already. Okay. So 647-875-3783 is where we are going to receive your text messages. And Joseph Salvador Ordinary Joe Show is where we can get some inquiries if you want to advertise on our show or if you want some of our services on digital marketing, creating contents for your social media site, for your business, or helping you with the traffic. So, talking about traffic, right? My analytics. Um, I hope I'm not too dark. My light just turned off on me. Let me fix that again. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't realize I didn't turn off my camera and you guys are looking at my tummy. Um, what were we talking about? I got lost there. Yeah, so my analytics said na ang aking mga followers, ang aking mga fans on The Ordinary Joe, Kuya Joe Show, yung Philippine spin-off na page. Alas 4 ng umaga kung sila ay active. So I'm thinking, no, kasi marami nga tayong manggagamang Pilipino followers in this, yung mga Pilipinong in the service sector in Ontario. Naisip ko baka ang nangyayari nga ay karamihan sa kanila ay kumigising ng ganong kaaga para maghanda, have breakfast, and then they have to take the bus or catch the early bus 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And that's the reason kung bakit ganong kaaga yung ating mga kabayang lalag on Facebook here in Ontario. Or it's possible that some of our um, followers are also living out in the east, uh, Quebec, uh, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI. Honestly, I don't know that many Filipinos, but I used to get hired by a company who would advertise to Filipinos out there. I didn't get a lot of traction out in the East Coast Canada, but they're the earliest time. So right now, in East Coast Canada, it is about maybe 9:20 already, 9:20 in the morning. So they're like an hour ahead of us. Um, Quebec is not different time from us here in Ontario. I guess depends on which part of Quebec. The easternmost part of Quebec is probably a little bit different time zone. So that's what we're trying to accomplish right now here in this morning shows. If you see me and it's not, we don't have a copywriter, we don't have a well written program. Uh, Remember, we just got back about today's our second day from being shut shut out of our platform. Nabigyan tayo ng restriction. Even now, meron pang hindi pa totally lifted ng restriction. I can do live shows now here at the Facebook page, pero that's all I can do. I cannot synchronize the live show with my groups and with my other pages. It's still restricted. So there's only one page where we're publishing this right now. And in that page, that particular page, yung Kuya Joe Show, that one is telling me that all the fans are usually up at about 4 o'clock, and then it peaks at about 5, and about 5:36 they all go away. They are not online. They're offline most. So this particular page where we're publishing this, the analytics says most of them at this time is offline. But it's okay. We'll do the live show because we also have followers in West Coast Canada. Um, so it's 7:27 in Winnipeg, 8:27 in Calgary and Edmonton, and about sorry backwards. So right now it's 7:27 in Winnipeg and 6:27 about 6:27 in Calgary and Edmonton, and it's still 5:27 in the morning out in British Columbia. In Victoria and Vancouver. Marami po tayong mga kababayan west coast of Canada in Vancouver. Nandyan yung ating mga maraming kaibigan. And napasyal na po ako dyan minsan. It's very rainy in Vancouver, I find. I find na, yeah, it's not very, oh, I'm still close. I still realize how close I am. Let's zoom it out a little bit so we're too close. There you go. Ibali po, very soon, with God's help and with God's blessing, we will soon have a production crew. I want to ask your prayer, my dear friends on social media. Ipag-pray niyo po, no? Kasi meron tayong ginagawang petition na maki-collaborate with a company called Go Live TV. And Go Live TV, they have their own studios and they have their own apps, which is live television app. It's like one of your apps when when you have a subscription with Rogers or Bell, and you ask them. Nowadays, they're offering television app so that you can watch what you're paying for on cable, even when you're not home, even on your phone, right? So the same kind of technology, the same app that Bell Media and Rogers carry on their platform, so that you can watch cable TV on your phone. That's the same kind of technology what Go Live TV has, and we're trying to forge a relationship with the company, and it looks like we're gonna get in because most other shows that are on the platform are similar, but not as strong as the ordinary Joe show. So it's very promising. I hope that we get in, and I pray that you guys, I hope that you guys, pagdasal niyo po. I'm sorry, I'm not in the Filipino mood this morning. I'm supposed to be speaking Filipino sa ating mga pang-umagang palatuntunan. Pasensyahan nyo na pa ba? Minsan nawawala ako doon sa mojo, sa Filipino mojo. But we will try and get back to it. I can see that my lighting is too bright and my face is awash, but all of these little technical details as a director and producer at the same time I'm the host. I'm very critical. I'm the most critic of my own show, but this is where in a way it's rehearsal, but you're part of the dress rehearsal right there, my friends who's listening and watching me right now. In a way, yes, for the next, you know 6 to 8 weeks, this might be a dress rehearsal that we're doing here, because the first